Welcome back to Paul and Benny. I'm Paul if you're new here, and it is strawberry season. Today we're making these delicious, super easy to make strawberry muffins. Let me show you how easy it is. Starting off with the ripest, juiciest, reddest strawberries I can get. I'm just thinly slicing them. I'm going to need about 2 cups, probably a little bit more. And you'll notice if there's any big white chunks, I'm leaving those aside. Not saying they're not good to eat, but for the sake of the muffins, we want them nice and red inside like this. We want them red for visual appeal, and we also want the sweet, juicy part. There's going to be some white parts inevitably, but none of the big, chunky white cores. And then we're adding in a 1/2 cup of sugar and setting that aside for about a half hour till we come back and smash them up with our potato smasher. You could use whatever you want, an immersion blender, but I want some chunks left in here, so you'll see them in the muffin. And then we're just going to let that sit aside again and get nice and juicy, about another 20 minutes. If I didn't tell you, my oven is preheating to 350 degrees, and the full recipe will be in the description box below. If you look at the title and you see it says more, just click on that. It'll expand and show you all the details. But you don't have to use a muffin tin. You could use 2 loaf pans. You could use a 9x13 and make it into a cake, whatever you want to do. And I'm sorry, I had the TV on. I totally forgot it was on. I didn't mute it. So if you hear background noise, that's what it is. But I've added my melted butter and my oil to the sugar, and I'm adding my eggs one at a time. I want to be sure that my butter's not hot anymore. I'm not trying to cook the eggs or melt the sugar. I just want it melted. I'm adding a pinch of salt there. Actually, it's more than a pinch. It's like a teaspoon, I think, and a good, generous teaspoon of vanilla. I love that getting out the mixer is not necessary at all. I'm using a blending fork. You could use a wooden spoon, what have you. But I just want to be sure you get all the way to the bottom of the bowl where the sugar is. And we're just going to mix this up. Be sure we beat in the eggs. Just don't want to see any separation. You want it all to be one homogeneous yellow mixture. You don't want streaks of eggs or lumps of sugar. And then we add in our beautiful strawberries. Look how juicy they got. Look at all that. So you're going to have about 2 cups of that mixture there. Get all the goodness in the bowl. And we're going to mix. The beautiful thing here is you really can't overmix it since there's no flour in the bowl yet. So they're not going to get tough. They're not going to, develop gluten and become, like pizza dough or anything. They're going to stay nice and tender. And in a separate bowl, I've got some all-purpose flour. I'm adding in some baking powder. Wait, that's not baking powder. That's cornstarch. But it looks like a baking powder can, look. But I'm going to add baking powder. Cornstarch won't help these rise. So I'm going to put in a good 2 teaspoons. This is where I should have added my salt. I don't know why I threw it in with the liquid, but it's not going to hurt anything. And just give this a good stir so it's all combined, so we won't have any chunks of baking powder when we add it to the liquid. So if you made it this far, we're almost done with our muffins. We're just going to add the dry mixture into the wet mixture. Try to get it in the bowl as much as possible and not on the counter. At this point, I recommend that you continue hand mixing. This is the part where you can overmix it if you go too far. You don't want to develop gluten here. Now that the flour's in there, it's getting wet with the liquid. You just want to mix until the flour is incorporated. And if there's a little bit of dry flour still, hanging out here and there, that's fine too. You just want it mostly mixed in and then you stop. That will ensure we have a light, tender crumb. But look how pretty the dough or the batter is here. Those little flecks of strawberry, it's going to be beautiful. I'm filling my muffin tins about 3/4 of the way. I'm using a 1/3 cup scoop. And I'm filling about 3/4 of the way. I don't want them to, overflow, but they don't rise a whole lot. So that's another reason they're really good for cake layers, because they rise just a little bit. And if you want even round layers, that's really nice for that. But I'm scooping them in as carefully as possible because I tend to make a mess, and I'm trying not to get it all over the cake pan. Try is the key word. And you want to be sure when you're scooping them in, it's try and get strawberry in every little bit. So if you're scooping and it looks like a bunch of batter just got in your round, then go ahead and scoop out some strawberry and put them in there And be sure everyone gets lots of strawberry in their muffin. And you don't have to use strawberries, of course. You could use raspberries. It'd be great with blackberries. No matter what you use, these are going to come out good. Finally, we want to be sure we clean up our pan. We don't want, ugly muffins if we're giving them away to someone else. And I always want to make cleanup as easy as possible. I've been waiting all week to make these. They don't need a frosting or a powdered sugar glaze or a streusel. You could, but they're sweet all by themselves. I want to show you how I like to eat it. Take all the paper off. The paper's really not necessary. And break it open. And look at this beautiful color in there. And here's what I like to do. A little butter. Oh, totally unnecessary. Little bits of strawberry in there, but the whole cake, the whole quick bread tastes like strawberry. Look at it. It's so good, guys. There's no reason not to make these. Strawberries are in season. If you don't have any good ones, go ahead and get some frozen ones. Absolutely delicious. Maybe serve these with your bacon and eggs in the morning on a special weekend breakfast, or just take them to work with you, have a cup of tea, make a nice morning of it. Whatever you want to do. Who am I to tell you how to eat your muffins? As always, I'm Paul. We're grateful for seasonal fresh produce that we can eat just how it is, or doctor it up and put it into a delicious, easy baked good. And we're always grateful for you watching.